Right, about to go live in just a minute. As soon as we get some viewers in. I'm going to talk some bantamweights tonight. We got to shine some light on the UFC Bantamweight division. It does not get any shine. So we're going to talk bantamweights tonight. Then we're going to talk about Cyborg. Why did Cat want to fight me? Why doesn't Zingano want to fight me? I just want easy fight against bantamweight. So we'll get into all that as soon as we get somebody watching. So I'll wait another 20, 30 seconds, and then we'll go live. Other than that, second straight Thursday, so we're getting back on track with the Wmma report. Enough of this. We're going to go live anyway. All right. Welcome back to WMAC Now with your host, Chuck Stevenson, and welcome to episode number 120 of the WMMA report. The regular show, we're going over everything happening in the world of women's mixed martial arts, news, reviews, previews, rankings, updates, just about everything. We're going to cover it. Tonight, we are going to talk about the UFC Bantamweight division, and then we're going to talk about Cris Cyborg crying about Cat Zingano again. Yeah, like I was saying, before I officially went live, the Bantamweight division has not been getting any shine lately other than, Nunes versus Pena. So I want to talk about it and just go over basically the state of the Bantamweight division. I covered strawweight a week or two ago. So I wanted to cover Bantamweight next, and then we'll do flyweight. But so Bantamweight's it. But first, before we get anything else, hit the like button, please. Help that helps get the algorithm going. Spread the word on the show as we're live. Subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. Also, wearing my Itsuki Hirata shirt yet. If you are an Itsuki simp or if you just like the shirt design, go to one.shop, and then I have a discount code for you down in the description below. Get 10% off of that at one.shop. They've got a bunch of nice One Championship clothing there. So feel free to go check that out and get yourself an Itsuki Hirata shirt. So let's get into things. Let's start where we always start, in the weekend review. So last weekend, first up Friday, we had One Championship Bad Blood, had a pair of atomweight bouts. First up, Lin He-Chin defeated B. Nguyen via unanimous decision in a pretty fun non-stop action bout. Honestly, Lin's speed, her reach, and especially her jab. Her jab was the story of the fight there. Just, ate up B over the period course of 3 rounds. Pretty good fight. Like I said, it was non-stop action. The referee, not one time did he have to tell the ladies to, hey, more action, more action. And that was Olivier Coste. He's always telling the ladies, or telling the fighters, whether ladies or men, more action, fight, fight, fight. He didn't have to tell these two not one time. B. Nguyen hitting that possible retirement after this bout. I believe it was her 3rd straight loss. Tough decision, but it wasn't like it was a close split decision. But, I don't blame her. She has an upside-down record right now. She's been in some wars and just seems to be at a physical... She's so small. She's real short. She's only 4'11". She's at a physical disadvantage at 115 pounds. So we'll see. But for Lin, she's calling out for a title shot. So we'll see. Then at atomweight, also at atomweight, Gian Radziwon defeated Mayamaguchi via unanimous decision. I disagree with this decision. It was a good fight. It was a close fight. A lot of people are calling it a robbery. I won't call it a robbery. 9 times out of 10, when someone cries robbery, it was a closer fight, and I think you should go back and watch it again. When I watched it again, I still gave it to Mayamaguchi, but I wasn't as blown away by it as I was upon initial viewing, which when I was watching it live, I was only half watching it because I was trying to get some work done too. So I thought Yamaguchi won, but Radziwon won. Unfortunately, it's like the third straight loss for Mayamaguchi. She also did take this fight on only a week notice too, though. So I thought she performed, credited herself really well. Then on Saturday, down in Australia, we had some flyweight action. A flyweight main event at Coastal Combat MMA number 10. Lisa Kiriakou defeated Nicole Seppisberry via decision. I don't think it was a title fight or anything. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch it. It was on super early in the morning for me. And then two, it was on pay-per-view, and not paying pay-per-view for just one fight. But maybe they'll post it up eventually. Then also on Saturday, UFC 271. This was like the main event, ladies bout of the weekend. Roxanne Modafferi versus Casey O'Neill. O'Neill defeated Modafferi via split decision. I don't know what the dissenting judge was watching, because there was no way that this wasn't O'Neill's fight. It was Modafferi's retirement fight, and I'll tell you what, she went out with an absolute bang. You could tell she put absolutely everything into this fight. I mean, she left everything in the octagon. There's very little to say that more that she could have done to try to win this fight. I think she could have tried to take the fight to the ground a little bit more, but she also said she wanted to go out with, having a fun fight, and she was searching for her first knockout win. She did piece O'Neill up a little bit. O'Neill was definitely wearing some damage after the fight. Of course, O'Neill also pieced Modafferi up pretty good too. O'Neill showed some good improvement in her stand-up offensively. Defensively, she has a lot of work to go on, but she's only been fighting for, I think, 3 years now. So she's shown a lot of improvement in a short amount of time. But Modafferi is retired, and the new generation O'Neill moves on. And then on Sunday, we had an atomweight bout. Well, we had Fairtex fight, Eye of the Tiger, at Lumpini Boxing Stadium in Bangkok. An atomweight bout. Wmma defeated Pawina Palakan via submission due to rear naked choke in the first round. I posted a link to this in a community post if you haven't seen it yet. So Palakan took Ha down and then proceeded to look like she had no idea what she was doing on the ground. Easy scramble for Ha, took the back of Palakan and just secured the win from there. If you don't know what you're doing on the ground, don't take your opponent down. That's really all I can say, because she looked like she had no idea what she was doing. So that was it for the weekend. So let's move into the news next. Not a whole lot going on this past week, but some important news here. So first up, Bellator veteran Hannah Guy, known for beating Valerie Loretta, has joined the Ultimate Fighter 30 cast. She was an alternate, however, due to Melissa Odessa Parker having to drop out due to, I think, incomplete medicals. Hannah Guy was one of the alternates, and she has now joined the cast. And then we have some LFA news. LFA 125 goes down next Friday, February 25th, in Niagara Falls, New York. They added a strawweight bout. Ashley Nichols 3-3 taking on Hillary Rose 5-3. So that's the second strawweight bout on that card, because the headliner is a strawweight title bout. And then 1X, the 10th anniversary One Championship event, goes down March 26th in Singapore. They added an atomweight bout. Itsuki Hirata will be taking on an opponent that is to be announced yet. They haven't announced the fight hasn't been officially announced yet. So, and then Invicta FC 46 goes down March 9th in Kansas City, Kansas. They added a flyweight bout. Christina Williams coming in at 4-3, taking on Flora Hani coming in at 4-1. Christina Williams mostly known for fighting in Bellator previously. And then strawweight Fatima Klein, who comes in at 1-0. That she was already announced to be on the card, but they named her opponent, Nadia Vera, coming in at 3-1. So that event is actually open to the public. So if you're going to be in the Kansas City area, you can go to get the tickets through Eventbrite. You can get the link for them, invictafc.com, and then look for tickets through there. And then Bellator 276 goes down March 12th. Added a pair of ladies bouts. First up, a featherweight bout. Kat Zingano coming in 12-4, taking on Pam Sorensen 9-4. Probably going to be the last fight for Zingano. If she wins that, then it's going to be the Cyborg fight next for her. For Sorensen, if she wins against Zingano, it's a chance for her to move back up to the rankings and get back on the winning track. And then they added a flyweight bout. Deanna Avsaragova 4-0, taking on Ashley Dean 5-6. I mentioned this bout the other night. I don't have a problem with someone who's only 4-0 taking on someone who's 5-6. Like if this were boxing, that'd be the exact kind of fight you'd expect someone with 4 fights experience to take. But this is also in Bellator. Why are you signing someone with an upside down record to take on, one of your prospects? If a fighter is not ready to take on legit competition, then why have you even signed them yet? That confuses me about Bellator every time. Like, you're the number 2 promotion, at least in North America. So why are you signing like fighters who are either debutantes or have very little pro experience? Let them, build up their name and their records outside first, and then sign them on. Because, the fight itself, I don't have a problem with. It's, why is this matchmaking occurring in Bellator? Why is Bellator bringing in someone with an upside-down record? That's what bothers me overall about that fight. Then, final bit of news. Aries FC4 goes down March 10th in Paris. So, Aries, we just had an event from them 2 weeks ago. Now we've got their 4th event already. It goes down, like I said, March 10th in Paris. Added 3 ladies bouts. They have a strawweight bout between undefeated prospects Evelina Wozniak coming in at 6-0, and Maria Silva coming in at 7-0. Then they have another strawweight bout, Elizabeth Rodriguez coming in at 4-4, taking on Mikol Deseni coming in at 9-3. And then finally they have a bantamweight bout, Flor Denise Muniz coming in at 3-0, taking on Rizlin Zoak coming in at 5-4. So 3 ladies bouts on that card. Very nice for Aries, which is still a new promotion. So that is your news for this week. So now we move on into the rankings updates for this week. So first up, we got Bellator. Now, I don't know when they last updated their flyweight rankings. I think it was a while ago. So I'm not sure. Somebody got removed here. I just can't remember. Actually, I think it was Kate Jackson got removed, if I remember right, because of inactivity. I believe it was Kate Jackson. But Deanna Bennett is down here at number 7, and this is important because she has a fight coming up. And then, of course, Deanna Avsaragova down here at number 9. Just like I said, she has a fight coming up next month in March. So keep an eye on the 7 and 9 spots. Then over at UFC, got some big moves at flyweight. Of course, Roxanne Modafferi retired, so she is now removed from the rankings. Casey O'Neill moves up 3 spots from 15 to 12. Nice big move. That's about where I expected her to go to, because that was where Modafferi was. Manon Fiora moved from 14 to 13. Macy Barber moved down 1 spot from 13 to 14. And then Erin Blanchfield comes in. She was previously unranked. I don't have a problem with any of these moves at all. I'm not a huge fan of someone who beats someone and then automatically they get their ranking spot. But at least this is consistent with how UFC does their rankings. So, or how the rankings panel does their rankings. So at least they're staying consistent. I don't have a problem with Fiora moving past Barber because Fiora's on a winning streak and Barber's not. And I don't have a problem with Blanchfield moving into being unranked because she absolutely dominated highly touted Miranda Maverick in her last bout. So it's pretty rare, though. I mean, only 2-0 in the UFC, and she's already ranked. So good for her. So that's it for your rankings update. So let's move into the weekend preview. Let me pull up Topology here real quick. On the old iPad. All right, first up, Saturday, Bellator 274 goes down in Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. Have one ladies bout in the flyweight division. Deanna Bennett there on the left, taking on Justine Kish. So a pair of, I guess you can technically call both of them UFC vets. I mean, Kish was with the UFC for quite a while. I think Bennett only got like one fight in with them. So, but mostly Invicta vet versus UFC vet, really. But Vitamin D, Deanna Bennett coming in at 11-7-1. Kish coming in at 7-4. Now Bennett is coming in off of a win over Alejandra Lara 4 months ago. Before that, had suffered a pair of losses. Kish coming in at 7-4, coming in off of 2 straight losses. First to Sabina Mazo via submission about a year and a half ago, and then most recently lost a split decision to Tracy Cortez. That was 9 months ago. Kish is the younger fighter, 33-37 for Bennett. Kish is also slightly taller, 5 feet 5 inches, 165 centimeters, to 5 feet 4 inches, 163 centimeters. Bennett, however, has slight reach advantage, 66 inches, 168 centimeters, to 65 inches, 165 centimeters for Kish. I'll be honest, this is like when sometimes Bellator makes fights and it's just like, wow, way to make a fight that has zero excitement behind it. And this is one of those fights, I'll be honest, like I like Deanna Bennett, but sometimes she just bores me to death. Kish, I've never been excited to watch. I think this fight is going to go down to whoever derps a little bit less than the other, because they're both kind of derpy in their fights. Most likely this fight goes to decision, though. As for who wins, I don't know. Flip a coin. It makes no difference to me who wins this one, honestly. Got a couple compliments chat here. Aaron Gordon says Cyborg is retiring after next fight. I think she said she has like 2 fights on her Bellator contract, but we'll get to that in a minute. JK13 says Kish by destruction, more like by decision, if anything. I can't remember the last time Kish won any fight by destruction. So that's Bellator. Moving along, we got UFC Fight Night. Has a pair of ladies bouts. First up at strawweight, Diana Belbida taking on Gloria DePaula. The Warrior Princess Belbida coming in at 14-6. Gloria coming in at 5-4. Now Belbida is coming off of her first UFC win after dropping down to strawweight over Hannah Goldie 6 months ago. Before that, she was 0-2 in the UFC, dropping decisions to Molly McCann and Liana Jojua at flyweight. Now DePaula, she is 0-2 so far in the UFC, dropping decision to Jinyu Fry and then getting knocked out by Cheyenne Vlismas 6 months ago. DePaula is 1 year the elder, 26-25. Belbada will have the height 5 feet 7 inches, 170 centimeters to 5'5", 165 centimeters for DePaula, and the reach is almost the same. 68 inches, 173 centimeters for Belbada to 67.5 inches, 171 centimeters for DePaula. This is a must-win fight for both ladies here. You know, Belbada only has 1 win out of 3 fights so far. She takes a loss 3 out of 4. Probably not getting asked back. For DePaula, she's lost her only 2 UFC fights. 3rd loss, probably not going to get called back either. So this is a must-win fight. So, you know, these ladies, either one of them could come in really cautious, or either one of them could come in and just really come in guns blazing, looking to get the win here. This could go any number of ways. I'll be honest. When I saw DePaula and she got her win on the Contender Series, fighting Pauline Macias, I had high hopes for her. I thought she looked really great in the Contender Series. I saw your first comment, JK. I'll get to it in a second. I thought she looked really good on the Contender Series, and then just really let me down in both fights. And I've been saying her praises, and I don't normally sing praises for fighters. You know, I tend to keep it across the board for everyone. I mean, I'll admit if I'm a fan of certain fighters, but I don't like go out to overly praise them. So I was been really disappointed with DePaula so far. I'm going to go Belbada. I think the size advantage coming down from flyweight will help her a bit. I just can't get behind DePaula anymore. Okay, so JK13 asked, which fighter will be first to make an OnlyFans? Don't know. Don't care. I don't subscribe to OnlyFans. Also at UFC Fight Night, we have Bantamweight bout. Jessica Rose Clark taking on Stephanie Edgar. Jess coming in at 11-6. Edgar coming in at 6-2. Clark is on a 2-fight run so far over Sarah Alpar over a year ago, and then defeated Jocelyn Edwards via decision 3 months ago. Edgar coming in off a win over Shanna Young 4 months ago. Before that, had dropped a decision loss to Tracy Cortez, also a little over a year ago. Clark is slightly older, 34-33. Edgar slightly taller, 5'6", 168 centimeters to 5'5", 165 centimeters for Jessica Rose Clark. Reach goes to Edgar as well, just slightly, 68 inches, 173 centimeters to 67 inches, 170 centimeters for Jessica Rose Clark. I'm going to go with Clark to win this one. I just haven't been impressed with Edgar in the UFC so far. I mean, she dropped the decision to Tracy Cortez, who's really a flyweight, and she got out-wrestled. I see Jessica Rose Clark out-wrestling her too, same way she did Jocelyn Edwards. So we're going to go with Jessica Rose Clark. JK13 says, definitely hope to see Jessica Clark make an OnlyFans eventually. Okay. And then some dude in my group chat says, Yan Xiaonan got a boob job. Okay. So that is it for the weekend preview. So next up, let's move into the first discussion topic for tonight. We're going to talk about the state of the UFC Bantamweight division. So we want to So, you know, previously we did a state of the UFC strawweight division, and I thought the bantamweights could use some love as well, because this is a division that does not really get talked about enough compared to the other two ladies divisions in the UFC. Not counting featherweight, that's not a real division. But compared to strawweight and flyweight, just the bantamweight division gets no love lately. So, I want to talk about the bantamweight division. So, first up, so here you have the rankings as they stand right now. Got Pena, the champ, and then we'll go down through all of them. So first up, let's talk about the champ, Juliana Pena. So she's 11-4. She went 2-0 in 2021, capturing the title from Amanda Nunes at UFC 269. Now, they've already decided that the rematch is going to go down. However, they haven't actually set the date for it yet because both of them are going to be coaching season 30 of The Ultimate Fighter. So filming's already begun. The season premiere is May 3rd, which means that that's going to take probably June and May and most of June. Then we'll get the actual fights for that, and then Pena versus Nunes probably going to happen sometime later in the year. So looks like they're only going to get to fight once each, like once this year. Of course, then we have number 1 ranked is Amanda Nunes, who went 1-1 in 2021 and 0-1 at bantamweight, of course, losing to Juliana Pena, losing the title. Of course, we already discussed what she's doing next. She's going to be rematching Pena after hosting Top 30. So we know what she's up to. Next, we have number 2, Holly Holm. She did not fight at all in 2021. She had injuries. She did go 2-0 in 2020, and she does have a fight booked. She's facing 5th-ranked Caitlyn Vieta in a 5-round main event for a UFC Fight Night on May 21st. I think that'll be a bit of a tough one for Holm. You know, took over a year off, coming back from injuries. She's like 39, 40 years old, and taking on the fifth-ranked fighter. Now, not that Vieta has been doing that great herself the last couple of years after suffering some injuries herself, but I mean, difference is Vieta's younger. Holm is like 39, pushing 40. It's not so easy to come back from those injuries as you get older. But, I mean, before that, though, she hadn't showed any real signs in slowing down. So it'll be interesting to see how that fight goes. So next up, we have 3rd-ranked Irene Aldana. So Aldana went 1-0 in 2021. She defeated number 6, Yana Kunitskaya at UFC 264. That was in July. She does have a bout scheduled, though. She's going to face 4th-ranked Aspen Ladd at UFC 273 on April 9th. So the better part of a year off for Irene Aldana. I got to be honest about Aldana. I think she still has it in her to become champion. It's just a matter of consistency. She kind of has a bit of inconsistency. Did not look good at all. Actually, she looked terrible in that fight against Holly Holm. Of course, she did reveal that she went in with a broken foot with that fight, or at least that's what she claimed afterwards. She did have a cast on afterwards. So we'll have to see. Of course, Aspen Ladd coming off a loss in her last bout up at featherweight. Big question, of course, with Ladd, who we'll talk about next, is will she actually make weight for that fight? I'm gonna have to go on some betting apps and see what the odds are on a prop bet for Ladd missing weight. So Ladd, let's talk about Ladd. She's ranked number 4. She went 0-1 in 2021. Fought at featherweight against Norma Dumont. She was scheduled to fight at bantamweight, missed weight, and her opponent turned down the fight. That was Macy Jason. Ladd, of course, like I said, next faces Aldana at UFC 273. Ladd showed a lot of promise at first. A lot of promise. And then just got absolutely buzzed by Germaine de Randami. Took some injuries, came back, and just got absolutely worked at flyweight. I mean, just could not impose her game on Dumont up at featherweight. And which just shows that, you know, one of her biggest things is she's a very physical fighter. But if she can't beat her opponent physically, then she tends to have trouble. Next up, we have Caitlyn Vieta at number 5. So she went 1-1 in 2021. She is coming off a win over Misha Tate on November 20th. And she next faces number 2 ranked Holly Holm on 21st May. That's going to be a 5-round main event. Vieta's another one, like Ladd. She came in with a lot of promise. Was on a winning streak. Got injured, and then everything just kind of fell to pieces. So she's in I believe her last 4 fights, she's gone back and forth between win-loss, or vice versa. Especially, she came back off of her injuries, went straight into a bout against Irene Aldana, and just got knocked out. And then just hasn't been looking as good ever since then. But Vieta was one of those fighters. Like, when she came in, you're like, ooh, she definitely has contenders potential, possibly even future champ. And we'll just have to see about this one. So we move to number 6, Yana Kunitskaya. So Kunitskaya went 1-1 in 2021. She last fought Irene Aldana at UFC 264 in July, got TKO'd. She's out for the time being. She is pregnant. Her and Thiago Santos Maheta going to be proud parents. So who knows when she comes back? No timeline for her return right now. Moving along to number 7, Raquel Pennington. So she went 2-0 in 2021. Fought twice, won twice. She last fought number 10, Macy Jason, December 18th. That ended up being like a catchweight fight, basically, because Jason took the fight on short notice. Was like, hey, I'm going to take the fight at featherweight, and then missed weight anyway. But Pennington, even though moving up weight on short notice, looked really good in that fight. Honestly, the best she's probably looked in a long time. But she is currently not scheduled for another bout right now. But Pennington's one of those fighters. She runs hot and cold. She never really dominates her opponents, but she comes in sometimes. She looks really good. Other times, not looking so good. But looked really good against Macy Jason. Of course, she came in prepared, whereas Jason hadn't. We'll just have to see what's up next for Raquel Pennington. But as of right now, she does not have a bout scheduled. Next, we have 8th ranked Misha Tate. So Tate went 1-1 in 2021 after a 4.5-year hiatus from the sport. She had actually retired and then decided to come back. She beat Marion Renaud in her return bout, and which coincidentally was also Renaud's retirement bout, and then lost to Caitlyn Vieta on November 20th via decision, and just lost a pretty one-sided bout as well. She is actually, her next bout is set. She's moving down to flyweight, where she's going to face number 3 ranked flyweight Lauren Murphy And honestly, it's going to be a tough fight for Tate. One, she's going to be cutting a lot of weight. And two, Lauren Murphy's an absolute dog. I mean, Lauren Murphy will drag a fight and just make it nasty. So that's not going to be an easy welcome to flyweight for Misha Tate. Of course, after she takes that bout, she'll be removed from bantamweight rankings. So we move to number 9, Sarah McMahon. McMahon only fought once in 2021, taking a loss to Juliana Pena at UFC 257 back in January. So as of right now, she's gone over a year with no fight. However, she does have a bout scheduled. She's next going to face number 13th ranked Carol Hosa on March 26th. McMahon was one of those fighters, came into MMA with a lot of promise. Olympic silver medalist, freestyle wrestler, looked good, absolute physical specimen. Even now, she's like 39, 40 years old, has had a couple of kids, just had a kid like a year ago. Or no, like a little over a year ago. She had a kid in 2020. And still comes in like great physical shape, absolutely strong. Just can't put it together sometimes in a cage, and bad fight IQ sometimes. But she's going to be taking on a very promising young fighter in Carol Hosa. This is going to be a very risky fight for Sarah McMahon. So really looking forward to that one. So then rounding out the top 10, we have Macy Jason. Macy went 1-1 in 2021. She went 1-0 at bantamweight with her second fight coming at, like a catch weight above featherweight against Raquel Pennington. She does have a fight scheduled already for this year. She's going to be facing Norma Dumont at featherweight at UFC 274 on 7th May. Now, whether or not, because she's moving to featherweight and there's no featherweight rankings, don't know if they'll actually remove her from the rankings. I doubt it. But whether or not that move will be permanent, who knows? She definitely looks healthier at featherweight. I mean, she looks pretty bad at bantamweight weighing in. She's cutting a lot. I mean, a lot of weight to get down to bantamweight. So we got that about to look forward to at featherweight. So that rounds out the top 10. But let's keep going. Next up, we have number 11, Lena Landsberg. Now, she did not fight at all in 2021. She had a kid. She's pregnant for most of it. She only had one fight in 2020, suffering a loss. And but she already has a return bout scheduled. She's facing 12th ranked Penny Kianzad at a UFC Fight Night on April 16th. So Landsberg's been out for a while, but she'll be coming back and putting her number on the line, her ranking spot on the line to Penny Kianzad. So let's talk about Penny for a second here. Kianzad went 1-1 last year, 2021. In her last fight, she lost to number 7th ranked Raquel Pennington. So that was like earlier last year. And there's no shame in losing to Raquel Pennington. That's for darn sure. I mean, that was a chance to break into top 10. Just couldn't get it done. But she does have a chance to move up when she faces Lena Landsberg on April 16th. Kianzad's one of those fighters that's like, if she puts it together, Kianzad could make a run. It's just, can she put it together? Can she be consistent enough? Can she fight smart enough? A lot of questions about Penny Kianzad. I mean, she could. I just don't know. Just don't know. Next, we move to number 13, Carol Hosa. So Carol went 2-0 last year. She last fought on October 2nd, defeating Betch Correia in Correia's retirement bout. And then she actually has a fight scheduled already. She is facing number 9th ranked Sarah McMahon, of course, on March 26th. We talked about that already. Carol Hosa, to me, she's 27 years old. And this young lady is the future of the bantamweight division. Like, she definitely represents the future of this division, probably more than any fighter ranked right now. Yeah, she has a pretty much overall complete game. She has the striking down. She has the grappling down. She's young. I think she's one of the youngest fighters on this list at 27 years old. So she's the future of this division right now. And really looking forward to seeing her against Sarah McMahon. I don't want to make my pick official yet, but she definitely can beat McMahon. It's just a matter of will she. So then we have number 14, Julia Avila. So Avila fought once last year, winning. She beat Yulia Stoyarenko on June 26th. So fought in the middle of the year. I think she had a fight scheduled, and then it ended up getting canceled after that. I have it down here on my notes. Last fight scheduled was canceled due to a knee injury. I think it was an Avila knee injury, actually. So she was scheduled to fight in December. Fortunately, suffered a knee injury. Right now, she does not have a bout scheduled. Of course, we'll have to see how long that knee injury keeps her out. Then last but not least, Norma Dumont, number 15. Why is Norma Dumont ranked? I have no idea. She's never fought at bantamweight. The lone fight she ever was scheduled to fight at bantamweight, she missed weight by 4 pounds. Why is she number 15? I don't know. No idea. I mean, of course, this is the same rankings panel that has Brianna Van Buren at number 14 when she only has 2 fights in the UFC. She went 1-1 and hasn't fought in like close to 2 years. So who knows? So that is the current state of the UFC Bantamweight division. So a couple of my notes here. I'll be honest, this is not the most active division right now. Most fighters only fought once or twice in 2021, if they fought at all. Hopefully, it'll be more active this year. I mean, most of them actually have fight schedules. I think I have 1, 2, 3 fighters that absolutely have no fight scheduled. Nunes and Pena, they don't have a date yet, but they do know who their opponent is at least. So yeah, most of the division, at least in the top 15, does have fights scheduled. But so hopefully they'll, get more active this year. The bantamweights need to pick it up. Unfortunately, only 2 of these fights that are scheduled are set for, to be on numbered pay-per-view events. Right now, the division seems relegated to fight night events. Like, the UFC is not pushing these fights to get the most views, because the most views, even if they're only on the prelims, the most views always happen with the numbered pay-per-view events. So it seems like the UFC is relegating this division to the fight nights right now. So these ladies need to come out. They need to get more active and start putting on some exciting fights. My last note here, this was the marquee division for the ladies in the UFC. Unfortunately, it's been overtaken first by the strawweights and then now by the flyweights too. Big question is, can this division, the bantamweight division, become the marquee division again? It's possible. It's possible. The UFC needs to get their scouts out there and sign some fresh new talent, for one thing. because a lot of these fighters are getting older. A lot of these fighters are in their 30s. So it's up to the UFC to scout the new talent, the young new talent. But it's also up to the ladies that are in it right now to be active. They've got to be active, and they've got to put on exciting fights. They've got to be competitive out there. You know, a bunch of one-sided fights just aren't going to do it. And the bottleneck up at the top of the rankings right now, that doesn't help either. Of course, Jermaine Durandamy, she's not scheduled to fight anytime soon. She got removed from the rankings. No idea when she's going to fight. So that is one fighter that was up at the top of the rankings that was causing that, you know, that bottleneck. And she's out for the time being, which is good. Holly Holm is facing a risky fight. If she loses, that, you know, widens that neck up even further, which could be good. So yeah, it's up to the UFC to do the right scouting and bring in some fresh new talent. Carol Hosa is just one of them. Hopefully they'll find some more. But it's also up to the ladies to get out there. They got to be active, and they got to be competitive, and they've got to be exciting. They've got to put on some exciting fights. If all those three things work out, active fighters, exciting fights, and more talent scouted, it could do a lot to help the image of the bantamweight division, because right now they're not going to be the marquee division for the time being, at least for quite a while, at least. But they can be again. It's just going to take some work. So that is the state of the UFC bantamweight division right now. So got a lot of comments in the chat here, mostly from JK13. So, by the way, we do have multiple people in the chat, so feel free to leave a comment if you like. Also, don't forget to hit the like button. JK13 says, bro, in the next pay-per-view, the women's MMA fights are actually pretty freaking exciting. Jan versus Marina, that is a good fight. And Agapova versus the Ukrainian girl, Marina Moroz. Yeah, that's a genuine grudge match right there. So that should be make for an exciting one. Yeah, both of those fights are fire. JK says Nunes fought like a dum-dum in the second round against Pena. Well, she fought like a dum-dum in the first round, too. Holm versus Caitlyn is such a dog crap main event. Yeah, but Holly Holm has the name, so that's why it's a main event. You know, she's never going to stop being the fighter that beat Ronda, and that name value still carries to this day. So she's still popular. Jessica Andrade versus the other Brazilian chick, Amanda Lemos, on the main, about to be a banger, definitely. Lad has a big forehead. What made you so much into women's MMA? I got into MMA back in 2005, and I also saw my first ladies fight that year. It was a King of the Cage bout, bantamweight. Debbie Purcell was one of the fighters, an early pioneer in the U.S. for women's MMA. Got hooked on the ladies ever since. Yeah, Misha Tate about to go to 125. Something about Valentina. Pound for pound, best women's MMA. Yep. Likes Carol Hosa. She's good. And apparently Macy Jason looks like Machine Gun Kelly. I'm not that familiar with the guy to say otherwise. So that's it for the state of the bantamweight division. Last subject I want to talk about tonight was this article from MMAfighting.com. I'll move it over. It says, morning report, Cris Cyborg reveals she has 1 or 2 more fights left on Bellator contract. This is from yesterday. I'll go ahead and enlarge it for you guys. Actually, let me do this one. It says, Cris Cyborg has collected titles in every major promotion she's ever fought for, thus resulting in her becoming MMA's version of a Grand Slam champion. By the way, that's a nickname that she made up herself. Okay, no one called her that. No one actually calls her that except for herself. It says, currently the Bellator featherweight queen, Cyborg made her trek into the promotion in 2019 before debuting in January 2020. Curitiba, Brazil native, came from the UFC, where she enjoyed a run with the title before dropping it to Amanda Nunes in their big champ, blah, blah, blah. As soon as this summer, it could be on to yet another relocation for the 36-year-old all-time great. Says, I have 1 or 2 fights left on my contract, Cyborg said on the catch-up with James Lynch. By the way, James Lynch has a great channel. You should definitely check it out. He does live fight companions for UFC pay-per-views. Guy interviews more fighters than just about anybody. He's a friend of the channel. Go check out James Lynch on YouTube. Said, my current contract, I'm going to finish in the summer. So I'm ready to fight and just waiting for the next opponent. I'm never going to choose opponents. My manager said maybe April for my next fight, and it can maybe be Arlene Blencowe, which would be a rematch. I'll never choose opponents, but I would like to fight new girls. If it's going to be Arlene Blencowe, it's going to be a great fight too, but I'm just going to be ready for April if the opportunity comes. The timing of Cyborg's contract expiration comes at a very interesting time, considering the unbeaten Kayla Harrison still remains afloat in the MMA free agency sea. One would have to imagine blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read all this. Anyway, let's get down to the real nitty-gritty of what I wanted to read about this. As for immediate next options for Cyborg, it seemed all too obvious that former UFC Bantamweight title challenger Cat Zingano would be the next woman up after picking up 2 featherweight wins in Bellator. Instead, Zingano was just announced to be facing Pam Sorensen at Bellator 276 on March 12th. Recently, Zingano took to Twitter declaring that Cyborg has been dodging drug testing for their potential clash. This, of course, didn't sit too well with the champ, and the two likely won't be getting along anytime soon. Quote, I'm not surprised about that because I hear she's asking for a lot of money to fight, Cyborg said of the Zingano versus Sorensen news. If you really want to fight, I know she's finding a lot of excuses. I've never refused a drug test, and if you see her career... Okay, first of all, that is a lie. That is a lie. Because she had a test, her team had a collection agent, a USADA collection agent, arrested in Thailand. They had a collection agent showed up to the gym in Thailand where she was training at, trying to avoid testing, most likely, because she went out to the middle of nowhere in Thailand to train. You know, it's not like she was in Bangkok or in Pattaya. No, she went out to the northern Thailand to train out in the middle of nowhere. Collection agent showed up, and her team called the cops on him. That's basically a refusal to take a test. Anyway, back to the quote. I've never refused a drug test, and if you see her career before she's doing the program with USADA, she's undefeated. After USADA, she's been losing fights for 5 years. So I don't know what she's saying. Well, okay, let's clarify this too. Kat was losing fights before USADA came in. I'm pretty sure about that. Sorry. I want to find this out. I want to clarify this for real. When did the UFC hire USADA? The UFC hired USADA in 2015. Oh, maybe it is about the same time frame. And that is when, okay, so she might have a point there because the UFC brought USADA in 2015, and Zingano started looking like crap after 2014. But she also took the beating of a lifetime against Amanda Nunes and never looked the same after that too. So that's just as likely a culprit. So this is basically Cyborg slinging mud back. Anyway, back to the thing. After USADA, she's been losing fights for 5 years, so I don't know what she's saying. Why are you choosing to fight on the YouTube preliminaries rather than a main event? Everything she's doing is just an excuse. So Cyborg is basically saying that Zingano is making up excuses to not fight her. Well, maybe she is. I don't know. I don't care. Honestly, Kat Zingano is one of those fighters I just don't care about. Never really cared for her. Never saw the big deal in her. Hasn't looked good since 2014 when she beat Amanda Nunes by pulling a Homer Simpson, which basically means she got beat on until Amanda Nunes got exhausted, and then she won the fight. But the main point in here is, like, I'm sorry, why is Cyborg just coming across as so desperate? And this is what this is starting to sound like. It sounds like she is desperate to face someone who, one, spent most of her career as a bantamweight, which is, again, typical Cyborg, so not really that surprising. But two, you just admitted. She just admitted she's been losing fights for 5 years. So why are you, Cris Cyborg, want to so badly fight someone who has been, by your own admission, has been losing fights for 5 years? Actually, it's like 6 years now, because it's 2022, going on 7 years. So yeah, you look at Kat Zingano's record. Since the win over Amanda Nunes in 2014, she lost 3. Won a single fight against Marion Renaud. Lost via injury to Megan Anderson. Came to Bellator, fought someone, took 2 years off practically. Fought someone in Gabby Holloway who hadn't fought in like 3.5 years. And then fought Olivia Parker, who was basically a soft touch, like the most soft touch Bellator could probably find for her. So if she hasn't really won a fight in 5 years, or has been losing for 5 years, why are you making such a big deal about fighting her? Why are you so desperate to fight a career bantamweight that has been losing for 5 years? This just reeks of desperation to take an easy fight by Cyborg. And I'll be honest, this is pathetic. Pathetic from Cyborg. I want to face Kat Zingano, even though she's been losing for 5 years and hasn't been beating anybody good, and accuses me of cheating, even though she probably most likely cheated. I really want to fight Kat Zingano. Why are you so desperate to fight her then? She's been losing for 5 years. Why do you want to face her so bad? Are you that desperate for an easy freaking win, Cyborg? Come on, that's pathetic. Like, there are very few fighters that I genuinely dislike. Very few. But Cyborg is the top of the list for crap like this. Just absolutely desperate for an easy win for one reason. More than one reason, because one, Cyborg likes easy wins. She likes can crushing. Beating Kat Zingano at 39 years old in 2022 is basically like crushing a can. She's facing an over-the-hill fighter who, by her Cyborg's own admission, has been losing fights for 5 years. So it's basically, she wants an easy win. But I'll tell you why. She really wants to face Zingano. This right here. She beat Amanda Nunes back in 2014 at UFC 178. 100 freaking pay-per-views ago, Zingano beat Nunes and has looked like crap ever since. But because of that, and because Cyborg got the absolute crap beat out of her in 52 seconds? 54 seconds? I don't even know what it was anymore. 51 seconds. So because Nunes lost to Zingano back in 2014, Cyborg's desperate to get a win over someone that has a win over Nunes. That's pathetic. That's just absolutely sad and pathetic that you were that desperate to get something over Amanda Nunes. That you want to beat on someone who, by your own admission, has been losing fights for 5 years. That's just pathetic, Cyborg. That's pathetic. And I know that I'm going to get the Cyborg Nation teed off on this one. Good. Good. The Cyborg Nation's a bunch of freaking weirdos anyway. This is pathetic from Cyborg. By your own admission, been losing fights for 5 years, but yet you're like so desperate to fight her. That's sad and pathetic. Let's go to... Hey, Clay Dog Madman, how you doing? It says, my man Chuck Stevens. It's actually Chuck Stevenson. But thank you. The YouTuber whose name sounds like a game show host. I never thought of it that way. Clay Dog Madman, come on down. For $500, name 10 things that you would do, or name 10 things that you would find in a typical household kitchen. So I wanted to talk about the bantamweights tonight, and I wanted to just rant about Cyborg because I like ranting about Cyborg sometimes. Anyway, that's really all I have for tonight. Managed to stretch it out. Honestly, I'm surprised it only went an hour. You know what? There is one more thing I wanted to talk about. Let me pull it up here real quick. This just really saddens me when I saw this. This is a post by Mayamaguchi on Instagram the other day. Let me go ahead and enlarge this for you. It's multiple pictures of her in a hospital. And video of her running an ambulance. Mayamaguchi's not doing so well. And let me go ahead and read this for you guys. It says, 6 months ago, to be honest, you win, you lose, it's okay. But what sucks is that I haven't been careful with my brain during all these years of martial arts. I've had so many sparring sessions when I felt like my brain would pop out from my head, not remembering where I parked the car on my way home, etc. One time I felt so bad and I couldn't keep going. It felt like my muscles were fatigued as hell and I had trouble to even move around properly. I think that's when I got my first real concussion. Probably not. Had to be at home for weeks and have dark in my room because any light would make me feel dizzy. Now, before I go on, this is the same thing that happened to Kat Zingano after her fight with Amanda Nunes in 2014. She said she could not put up with bright lights for like a month straight. Like she had to have darkness all the time. So yeah, that's serious concussion. Anyway, back to this. I did a brain scan and it didn't show anything bad. So then everyone around me said it was clear to start training again and get punches in the head. I thought it was really weird because I just had a concussion. So I don't think it's a good idea, but I was listening to the coaches who I trusted. Ever since then, I've never been the same. I think this happened around that time I fought Veronica. I don't know exactly when. I've had weird headaches after my sparrings, and I can tell that my brain is slow. For this last camp, I was so worried about my brain that I only sparred MMA 3 times. Because every time I had sparring, I felt more weak afterwards. Like I legit effed myself up for every punch to the head. And after this knock last fight, I got a real damn concussion. I felt so bad. I just felt I need to take care of this because I'm telling you, I started saying wrong words out of context like I want to say tomorrow, but I'm saying upstairs. But then I'm like, what did I just say? when I'm writing, I can have trouble to spell words that I've been able to spell my whole life. And I can feel that my brain is slow from time to time, and it's like something's missing. Just a reminder to all of you, take care of your brain and listen to your gut feeling. Don't listen to people that say you need to do this or that. You have your own will. Unfortunately, that's how people get mad at you, but then you don't need them. Be you and stand up for yourself. If something doesn't feel good, then leave. Your health is first. Nothing else is more important. Please remember, okay, bye. Have a great Sunday. Kissy emoji. I gotta feel. This was upsetting to read, and it's upsetting reading it now because this is probably her career. I mean, she's gonna need to like have serious like work done, like studies done and testing done on her. And if she ever fights again, it's not gonna be for a good while. So right now, Bea's career is probably done. And honestly, it's partially her fault because she should have been more forward. But I'll tell you what, she did not have good people around her. Her team, her coaches, her corner, everyone around her basically failed her. Because if she was not feeling good, if she was not feeling right, they should have been like, okay, we're not sparring. You're done sparring for a while. Until you start feeling good again, you're not sparring. And if she was feeling like that, getting ready for her next fight, I mean, this was happening after the Macedo fight, or even before that, leading up to it. And then she only sparred 3 times her last fight against that Josiane Nunes because of how bad she was feeling. If you're feeling that bad that you can only spar 3 times because you're feeling that bad every time you spar, where were her coaches telling her, hey, you can't fight. You're not feeling good. You're not in the right space. You're not healthy. You got to call off that fight. And then instead, they sent her out there and she got absolutely knocked out cold. Whoever her corners were, whoever her coaches were, not only did they do her a disservice, they possibly ended her career. Whoever they are, all their fighters should leave them right away because clearly they did not have their fighters' health in mind. Because if they did, they would not have allowed her to keep training until she was good to go. And they certainly would not have allowed her to go out there and fight and get knocked out. Coaches and corners' number one job, number one priority is the health and well-being of their fighter. And these corners, these coaches absolutely failed their fighter. Okay? These assholes, these scumbags, these pieces of shit absolutely failed their fighter. This is genuinely upsetting to read that there are still people in MMA that do this, that basically go out there and just train. Oh, spar at 100%. Oh, your head hurts. Okay, take 5 minutes and then we'll get back into it. And then boom, 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 we're 100% sparring. Whoever was in charge of her, they should lose their license. They should lose their corner license. They should not be allowed to corner in any state because they clearly did not have their fighters' health in mind. Their fighters, they did not have the best intentions when they let her go out there and fight. Clearly, they failed their fighter, possibly cost her career. So while Bea should have been more assertive, she basically admits it, you got to put your health first. I got to attack the coaches and the cornermen because that is their number one priority, is the health and well-being of your fighter. And if you're sending her out there compromised, what if she had gotten killed when she got knocked out by Josiane Nunes? What if she had gotten killed? This makes me sick. Like I absolutely love this sport, but at the same time, I absolutely hate this sport because it is so full of brain dead morons that have somehow put themselves in places of influence over these fighters. And they're failing them. Whether it's the bro science weirdos, the weight cut bro science guys, whether it's the bro science strength and conditioning guys, or whether it's the morons that still think that this is the 90s, pre-discovery of CTE, and thinking, oh, it's okay to go out there and spar 100% all the time. First off, it's never, why are you sparring at 100% anytime? It's sparring. It's supposed to be prepping you for the actual fight, not actually being an actual fight, okay? The days of, gym wars should be long gone, and unfortunately, it seems like they're not. It just pisses me off. It just pisses me off. I don't even want to keep talking about this. This genuinely disgusts me. Because here you have a fighter, young fighter. I don't know, how old is Mayamaguchi? I don't even know. Let me see here. Bad news, Barbie. She's 2-1. She's 30 years old. So she's still young. Had her whole career ahead of her. And probably done as a fighter already. At 30 years old and only 3 fights in. And she's probably going to have to call it a career. At least she can't even train properly with these conditions. She might already have CTE. I think they're starting to be able to diagnose it now. Before it used to only be like they could only do it post-mortem because they had to dissect your brain. I hope she goes and gets some serious tests done. Anyway, I hate to end on a negative note like this, but this is something I've been wanting to talk about brain damage and brain health for a while. I'm probably going to go more in depth on it, but between Felicia Spencer retiring because she wants to, says she wants to do it while her brain is still intact. Roxy retiring while she says she still has her physical and mental health. And then now here you have Mayamaguchi right after this. Just confessing to this. I love this sport, but I hate this sport for stuff like this. Purple Donatello says, I agree. You can already see their tattoos proves it that they were influenced somehow. Yeah, I can see that. But, I mean, yeah, these fighters, they put their trust, they put their lives into the hands of their coaches and cornermen, trusting them. And then sometimes these people just don't have the best interest of their fighters at heart. Sometimes all they care about is getting that 20, 15, 20, whatever percent. And it's just absolutely disgusting. Anyway, I hate ending it on a negative note like that, but it just had to be talked about. This had to be talked about at some point. But, so I am going to end it there. If you haven't yet, we got 7 people in the chat. Please like the stream. Share it at some point. If you got any comments, please leave them in the chat. Or if you're watching it on a replay, leave them in the comments. But if you're in the chat, I'll give you a couple minutes and a couple moments for any final comments. Like I said, like, share. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you like the channel. Hit the bell, please, too, because then you get notifications at least when I go live. If not, when I post new videos, you'll at least get notifications when I go live. Also, I am part of the partner program with the One Championship store, one.shop. If you want like my Itsuki Harada shirt or any of the other gear that I've worn in the past, I have an affiliate link and a discount code in the description down below. It'll get you 10% off. Also gets me 10% off in the future. So go get yourself an Itsuki Harada shirt if you're a simp for Itsuki. That looks like nobody else in the chat. So we're going to go ahead and close this up. So, like I said, like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And thank you for watching WMMA Now, the best, most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Michael Robinson says that was an excellent stream, Chuck. I'll keep watching. Well, thank you, Michael. Hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time.